Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Four Competitors Only podcast. We are back with episode 17, eighth seed Deja Vu. I'm here with D'Lo, Miles, and Chris. We got a lot to talk about. We have the play-in to discuss. Miami Heat back as the eighth seed again, matching up against the Boston Celtics again. And we saw game one today, and a little disappointing, but we'll talk about game one and how the Heat can bounce back for game two. So last week's episode, we talked a little bit about the playoffs a little bit. We mainly discussed the Heat awards. We talked about how the Heat can beat Philadelphia in the play-in game, which we should have only lost by 1 point, and then we ended up blowing out Chicago in the next game to get the eighth seed. And I think that's why Deja Vu is a good title for this episode, because it's the same thing that happened last year. Besides, of course, facing the Celtics, or not the Celtics, but the Sixers in the first game of the play-in. So let's first talk about the play-in and talk about the loss to the 76ers in Philadelphia. D'Lo, what did you see in that game? And I know the Heat should have won. So, what was your take on that game? I know we had insight on it last week and the keys to winning that game, which didn't really pan out. What happened? Why is Miami the eighth seed again?
Firstly, they didn't watch the podcast. They didn't listen to our keys. We laid it out for them perfect. Like, we gave y'all the plan. They just didn't listen. But yeah, it was mostly defense. We was neck and neck in offense. We only lost by a point. So, I mean, leaving the MVP open for I don't know how many threes, it's not going to help your case. I think it was just sloppiness, a lot of sloppiness, and not good defense. That's really all I could chalk it up to. I mean, we just treated it like we were just going to walk into the 7th seed. Oh well, maybe Joel Embiid won't play. So I think we just weren't prepared. No matter. Oh, and then Jimmy got hurt, but Jimmy played the rest of the game, so it doesn't even count. I just think it was just a lot of sloppiness and zero defense.
Yeah, I mean, another thing to discuss is Jimmy Butler's injury. He's going to be out here probably for a month at least. And the way the Heat are playing, we might not see him until next season. But Miles, how much of that game against the Sixers do you think was affected by the fact that Jimmy Butler had that MCL injury early on in the game?
Yeah, it's definitely a huge hit for us. Obviously, Jimmy's our leader and the guy that steps up in the moments when we really need a bucket down the stretch. And even defensively, I think he had 5 steals throughout the game and on the bum ankle or MCL. So defensively, it was a miss there as well. But Jaime did kind of step up. Needed that from him, so glad he was able to do so. But like D'Lo said, leaving Embiid open on the trail, which I get because we're always worried about the rim penetration, but nowadays league 7-footers out there making threes like we've seen with Porzingis. So that was rough, and a couple calls down the stretch that were tough. So I think Jimmy going down did hurt. I still feel like it was a winnable game without him, but we didn't execute, and I mean, the win against Chicago, we kind of stepped up. That one was for Jimmy. So hopefully we can kind of maybe get him back if we win this series. But I feel like without him in that game, it definitely hurt. Still a winnable game, but weren't able to get it done.
And you guys are talking about Embiid a lot, but how about the performance off the bench from Nicholas Batum, Chris? That might have been a season high there, 20 points, 6 3-pointers. Embiid only had 23, Maxey 19. Their second best scorer was Batum. I mean, that's really, I think, what killed us right there. 6 3-pointers from the big.
You're biting on pump fakes from Batum. That's kind of crazy, But God, terrible. I mean, Jimmy was trying to like attack the paint, trying to get fouls, but the refs weren't on our side. It happens. But it was great effort by the whole team, aside from Tyler Hero, maybe. Aside from Tyler Hero shooting like 9 for 27 or something like that.
I think it was terrible. He was 9 for 26 exactly. Yeah,
that was terrible.
Man, I can tell that I really pushed that out of my brain because I completely forgot we got torched by Nicholas Batum in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
I completely forgot. It's ridiculous. Like
Yeah,
after the
between
first
the
2 threes, you think you would strategize, get a game plan. Hey, maybe stay on him. No.
Maybe. No.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Hero for one, missing 18 shots. You lose by 1 point. If you make one of those shots, then you win that ball game. That's
Yeah.
what sucks about losing such a close game. You only lose by 1 point, which means another basket would have won you the game. One of my keys was defending the 3-point line, which I thought the Heat did pretty well. They only held the Sixers to 34% there, 41% from the field. So not a really great shooting day. The Heat actually outshot the Sixers in that game percentage-wise, both from the field and from 3-point line. What really killed Miami was just those couple clutch buckets. Turnovers, a little bit of a factor there for Miami. Miami came up with 13, but Philadelphia had 15. So statistically, when you look at this, the Heat really should have won this game, which is really frustrating to watch because stat-wise, Miami was all over it. Just really came down to Philadelphia. We even outshot them from 3. So when you take a look at the stats, that's what makes it more frustrating. We should have won that game. The personal fouls 19-17, so we had 2 more fouls. So maybe another free throw would have got it there. They shot 21 of 23 from the 3 free throw line. We were 14 of 19, so right there, 5 missed free throws to their 2. That wins you the game. So that's the frustrating thing, the little things. But the Heat bounced back in Miami against Chicago with no Jimmy Butler. Absolutely torched the Chicago Bulls. What did you see from the game from the Sixers to the Heat game versus the Bulls that really made a big difference, Miles, in how we were able to clinch the 8th seed?
Yeah, it seemed like we came in with the winner go home mentality, that we were obviously back against the walls. Like you said, such a marginal loss against Philly where we could have, won with one sway and free throws or points. So I think we came in the game against Chicago with that, our back against the walls and really had to make a statement. I definitely think they did that for Jimmy Butler, all that he's, led us through and all the adversity we've been in with him, everybody doubting us and him being able to step up as a team, being our leader. I think we had to go get that one for Jimmy. We were able to do so. Like I said, intensity, win or go home mentality, but also when it comes into play, I think we're hustling. 3-point shooting was pretty good. Obviously, that big stretch we had in that first quarter to really get hot was huge, and we kept that momentum throughout the game. So we obviously had Hero step up, and a couple more guys, Jaime, Haywood Highsmith, even Jovic. We looked good in that game with our backs against the wall. And I feel like that's why we were able to get it done with that true intensity and energetic from the whole roster up and down.
Yeah, I mean, it was simply that win or go home mentality, and a lot better of a game than we saw last year when we were down with 3 minutes to go against the Bulls. The game, we started off rocky the first few minutes, but then we went on that huge run. And we never really looked back. So, Chris, I mean, the same question to you and to D'Lo then as well. What did you see differently from the Sixers game to the Bulls game that helped Miami get to the 8th seed?
Oh man,
Tyler. Oh, go ahead, Dino.
No. After you, my friend.
No, I was just gonna say that Tyler Hero just played way better. He played that Jimmy role where Jimmy facilitated, rebounded, scored whenever he needed to score. That's pretty much it. Like he played good. Our role players played good too. We had good 3-point shooting. It's like everything was good, but that's it.
Hey Daniel, happy Sunday, man. I just saw Heat basketball. We played how we were literally supposed to play. Like during the season, whenever I see Heat basketball, that is what I envisioned right there. We played defense, got stops, transition defense well, transition offense well. Tyler could hit his shots. everything was going well. All the boxes were checked. Everything was marked. We did great. I feel like it was mostly intensity-wise. Like, we just never let our foot off the gas, no matter what. Even while they were making their own comeback, we still, chipped down 6 minutes with no offense. Who cares? We were still up 10. Still made a way, maneuvered, back it up to 20. So, we just had a lot of perseverance. Kept hitting shots, kept playing defense, didn't quit like I was supposed to do.
Yeah, just a game that you expected the Heat to win, a game that we should have beat the Sixers, so it was frustrating we even had to play in Miami. But we did, and we showed why we deserve to be that last team in the playoffs. However, the luck of the draw is the best team in the NBA. That is the Boston Celtics, who we are very familiar with as well, beating them last year to go to the NBA Finals, but they're built different this year. They have Kristaps Porzingis, and they're fresh at home for this Game 1 game. Heat 14-point underdogs, and they end up losing by 20. The Celtics just really jumped out to a fast start. Some of the key things in this game today was three-pointers. The Miami Heat were outshot from the three-point line by 10. They also only went to the free throw line 6 times, although they made all 6. The Celtics went to the line 16 times and made 14 of those. From the field, very close. We were 47 to 47%, pretty much, only a few percentage points off. But again, 45% for Boston, 22 threes compared to Miami shooting 32% and just getting behind. So a totally different game, but maybe one that was expected. Chris, it's very disappointing to come on to a podcast and talk about how this roller coaster is gone. We talked about how we should have beat the Sixers. Then we obliterated the Bulls, and now we got obliterated by the Celtics. What did you see out of this Heat team today without Jimmy Butler, without Terry Rozier in Game 1 versus the Boston Celtics?
Tyler Hero can't be a number 1 or a number 2 option, honestly, and it's sad because like he's grown, in our system, and it's like he just can't produce against like good teams. So it's like, damn. But I only watched the first 3 quarters because I was like, wow, we're really gonna be losing like this. And then I saw the stats in the fourth. DeLon Wright turned into Steph Curry. Just wow. We might consider starting him over Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin has regressed for some reason. It's insane. Does he not want to get paid in the offseason or something? Like,
I don't know, Chris. I don't know.
I really don't know. I don't know. That's the thing. But Bam had a good game too. He was aggressive. You could say he was aggressive, yeah. But other than that, like those are the only upsides from the game, That's
yeah. Kirk says Heat doesn't have enough firepower, which I agree they don't right now, and Bam is overrated as hero.
I don't know about Bam being overrated.
I think we got to talk about that a little bit because I don't think Bam's overrated. They actually
what do you mean by that, Kirk?
He's
a depoy finalist. He's a depoy finalist.
Adebayo today. Defense, yeah, they went through Adebayo today, which they haven't been. He actually took over. He had the most shots attempted today. He was 10 of 18. He 24 points. He had only 6 rebounds, which all came really early, but he played 36 minutes along with Jaime Jaquez. I don't agree with that statement that Bam's overrated. I think Tyler Hero's overrated.
Let him know, Ben. You let him know.
I'll tell. I'm just spitting facts. The Miami Heat, what frustrated me today, and I'll jump in for everybody else, is that they played through Bam off the bat, and Bam was hot. And then when they went away from Bam, they fell apart. Some frustrating things that I saw today was that one, Kevin Love has been really hot lately for us. He's been playing some good basketball.
Yeah,
he played the least amount of minutes today.
He needs to start. He needs to start.
Yeah. Nikola Jovic played double the minutes, and Kevin Love only had 3 less points than him. Caleb Martin played 16 more minutes, and guess what? Kevin Love had more points than him. Tyler Hero obviously had his struggles today. He's just been taking way too many attempts. Duncan Robinson played 2 more minutes, only 5 points. Haywood Highsmith, 26 minutes, double the minutes of Kevin Love, 0 points.
Yeah.
So not much production there. But why aren't we playing Kevin Love?
We need to start him. We need to start him.
I mean, I know he's older, but why aren't we playing Kevin Love? The numbers support him getting more minutes.
Great analysis, Ben. I wish I could tell you why. If I was Eric Spoelstra, I would be playing Kevin Love.
We need to play bigger.
He would come right off the bench behind me, throw him in there. I don't know. Like you said, Kevin Love has been on a freaking tear, man. I don't want Kevin Love to start. I do like Kevin Love in his bench role because with Kevin Love coming off the bench, he can take as many pick and pop threes as he wants. Like with Tyler Hero on the court, obviously those are taken up. With Bam on the court, obviously those are taken up. Whoever we are starting as point guard, obviously they're going to need their shots. But with off the bench, we don't really got a lot of offensive firepower. I mean, we have Duncan, but he's not really feeling himself right now. I don't know what he got going on. It's low-key pissing me off because he's acting like he doesn't give a fuck. But who cares? I'm not the millionaire. But he's doing great. I mean, he's stepping up big. He's guarding whoever, getting rebounds, doing great Kevin Love things. I don't understand why he only got 13 minutes when he was on the court. He was playing fine. He was doing great. I had no problem with Kevin Love at all. I don't know what's going on, Ben.
Yeah, and I mean he's getting the mismatch off the pick and roll down in the post too.
Yeah, he is.
That's big. Miles, let's go to you though. I mean, your thoughts on today's game, but also how about the emergence of DeLon Wright, 17 points today, our second leading scorer.
We got shooters.
5 for 5 from downtown. Has he maybe put himself in a role to start next game?
I think he definitely has. Whether Eric Spoelstra wants to start him or continue to bring him off the bench, that's going to be up to them. But I've been calling for DeLon Wright for a couple episodes now, and with him coming in, his perimeter defense has been impeccable. Just what we needed. Terry going down, that hurts the ball handling, and DeLon's not a bad ball handler. He's not a pure scorer. He's obviously a two-way player, but his shooting today was great. And his defense is better than ever. True hustle. Him and Haywood Highsmith come off the bench together. I know Haywood had a bad game on offense, but them two wreak havoc on the defensive end. And we're definitely going to need that kind of Haywood on Tatum, DeLon Wright, maybe on a Jaylen Brown or Derek White, keeping one of those guys in check. So I think DeLon Wright should definitely continue to play and also maybe even play more. Like D'Lo said, Duncan's not really looking at himself right now. And if he's not going to be shooting the ball with efficiency, then, why even leave him out there? We know it's a liability on defense. So we'll see what Spoelstra wants to do there with the guard rotation. It's looking like we're not going to have Terry Rozier back for game 2, maybe game 3. So going to be kind of the similar rotation. I agree with you guys. I think Kevin Love definitely needs to be playing more minutes. When he comes in, I'm always like, Bam's out, here we go. But he comes in and he does the dirty work. You can just see a Hall of Fame player when you see one. And it's the mid-range was looking good. Obviously, it gives the ability to do the pick and pop with him. Really good rebounder. So, obviously, the outlet passes are always there for him. So, I think Kevin Love should continue to play a lot more. I think Jovic's time should be cut down. I think Caleb Martin's minutes should be cut down, as well as maybe even Haywood Highsmith to get Kevin Love on the floor. When Boston presents a lineup of Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford, and we're over here with Caleb Martin at the 4, it's pretty tough. You saw a lot of offensive rebounds for Boston today that I feel like could definitely be cut down with Kevin Love on the floor next to Bam Adebayo. We know Bam's not always able to stay down low and get the rebounds with as much switching as we do. But with Kevin Love in, I think we really presents opportunity to let Bam freelance, guard a Jaylen Brown off the pick and roll, even guard Tatum in situations, and still have Kevin Love down there. So I think he continues to play. As far as our game today, We showed a lot of hustle. I like the grit, but at the same time, it's just we're missing something. I thought Tyler, or we knew we needed Tyler to be huge today, and the way that Boston came out defensively on him, just want to give their credit to them, because I really feel like it wasn't Tyler. Maybe it is, but the way they're playing him off the drop, and off the screen, not allowing to really pull the quick shot, not allowing him to get down to his floater, and closing in the pocket pass to Bam. It was an excellent job by them. So we're going to need to make some adjustments offensively to kind of get him going, maybe some off-ball screen stuff, get him kind of going off-ball, because they're going to continue to trap him with their physical perimeter defenders they have in Drew Holiday and Derek White. So definitely going to take some masterminding from Spo to be able to compete in this series. Hopefully we can come into game 2 with a good game plan.
Yeah, I agree, and I think we have to go big against Kristaps Porzingis in this team. And I'm going to throw this scenario out to you, this question too. And actually, another fellow Heat fan had suggested this, and this might not be a bad idea, but why is Thomas Bryant not playing, and why can't we throw Thomas Bryant in a role next to Bam Adebayo for size? Because that's where we lack. And if we take a look at his last few games, he played 23 minutes against the Raptors, 22 minutes against the Trailblazers, and 20 minutes against Cleveland. In those games, 18 points along with 10 rebounds, 26 points along with 12 rebounds, and 14 points with 5 rebounds. So he's grabbing boards, he's out rebounding Bam, and he's a guy that, is tough. That's going to play that tough-nosed defense basketball. And just throwing that out there, what about Thomas Bryant? Why is he not getting any love? Obviously, we're getting out rebounded this series. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of changes need to be made. I personally think that you need to keep Kevin Love coming off the bench and give him more minutes. I think DeLon Wright needs to be a spark off the bench with more minutes, because you need somebody to then run the offense when Tyler goes out. But what about Thomas Bryant being inserted into a starting role next to Bam, or coming in deeper off the bench, and when Bam returns into the second half, they play some minutes together? We haven't really seen that at all, but just throwing that out there for anybody. What are your thoughts?
I really like that. I like Thomas Bryant first and foremost. He's been better than our last 2 duds of centers, so that's always a plus. But Thomas Bryant can give you anything you want him to give you, man. He's willing to shoot. I mean, he's not very efficient, but he's willing to stretch the floor, so he will shoot it if it's open. He's great physicality-wise. Never backs down, never shies away, always at 100. I mean, I don't know why we don't throw him with Bam. I mean, you can just keep him on Kristaps. You can keep him on Al Horford. Like, you can assign him to a zone or something. Like, it doesn't have to be rocket science, guys. Like, even if we put him with Bam, who Bam is known, he can stretch the floor now. So spacing wise, I mean, we always complain about that, but we're getting killed on the boards. Who cares about spacing, man? I promise we'll figure it out, man. We got shooters. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Thomas Bryant does everything that you want him to do. He's a yes guy. No matter what, you can tell, hey, Thomas, we really need you to go out there, guard Jason Tatum 48 minutes. Hey, whatever you need me to do, coach. So I mean, I don't know why he got a DMP today. Especially while we're getting out rebounded, he at least got 5 minutes just as a test run. Especially with Kevin Love. I mean, Kevin Love shouldn't be the tallest person on the court, especially with his age. I mean, like Kirk was saying, I believe Kevin Love can stand out from that 23 to 27 minute range and still be effective. But I just think that our only players being Bam at 6'9", Jovic at 6'10", and Kevin Love at 6'9" isn't going to cut it. Because if Bam and Jovic start, and we only have one guy 6'9" coming off the bench for the remainder of the it doesn't make sense to me. So I feel like throwing Thomas Bryant with Kevin Love, I feel like something good can happen.
Yeah, I mean, why not? We need to go big, and there's your opportunity. Kevin Love, when he's been out there, going back to him, though, has probably been our best three-point shooter percentage-wise. I mean, he doesn't take a lot of shots, but he's been producing. But just some coaching things that I feel why not try it? You know, especially seeing a game one where it's like, all right, we did get out rebounded. Now we have to make the adjustments. So what a better way to make adjustments on the rebounding side than go a little bit bigger. And maybe again, throw in DeLon Wright. I don't know if you throw him into the starting lineup yet because you need that spark off the bench. And then you really have no true person to run the offense coming off the bench. So that kind of hurts. I know earlier you can't take Tyler off and put him in the bench, but I would love to see Duncan Robinson in the lineup because I feel like he's better as a starter than coming off the bench because of the way that he plays with those starters, especially coming off the Bam pick and rolls. But anyways, I'm kind of getting out there and my wish list of what could happen as a coach. But Miles and Chris, thoughts on Thomas Bryant, and should he be getting some playoff or some playing time next game?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Thomas Bryant come on the floor for us and see what he can provide as far as rebounding and rim protection. I think a big reason why he hasn't been in the rotation is just due to spacing. I mean, his shot's not horrible. He'll throw up the three, and sometimes he can make it. His mid range is actually pretty good, though. So I think, if he maybe can, get a pick and roll dive going with a DeLon Wright coming off the bench, I think that could be a pretty good combination. But like we talked about, the offensive rebounds for the Celtics, if that's going to continue to happen, we're going to lose this series and we're going to lose it quick. So putting in a Thomas Bryant could definitely help out with the rebounding and even rim protection. We see a lot of one-on-one ball and Bam's kind of, guarding Porzingis at the three-point line as he should. As we see, he lit us up today, but doesn't provide a lot of help rotationally having all small guys on the floor because Caleb Martin and Haywood Highsmith are both undersized for power forwards, especially when you go against a Boston team that has a 7'3" Kristaps and 6'10" Al Horford, however tall he is, and even when they go like Hauser, they play big. We're a small ball type of team, so I think Thomas Bryant could be a good switch up, having him come in and seeing what he can do for us on the glass and rim protection as well.
No, I agree with you guys. Thomas Bryant we can test him out for like 5 minutes at least to see what he can do. Also, I see from Kirk here what happened to Orlando Robinson. I mean, we can also test him out too. He can shoot the ball too. He can protect. He's 7 foot tall, right? So
I think he needs an off season.
He's off season.
I think he needs an off season. I like Orlando. I like him a lot. Okay. I wish he got that backup spot this year, but I just think he's a little too young. I mean, he's had a lot of time being the main guy at Sioux Falls, so I just don't think he's had enough implications running with this current roster. Okay, because he was amazing in Sioux Falls, absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I like Orlando Robinson, don't get me wrong, but the problem is he has not played in enough games to prove himself to see what he looks like with this lineup. So when you come into the playoffs, you want guys that are proven and that have been playing some minutes. And since he hasn't been playing, I don't think you give him the time. Whereas Thomas Bryant, 4 of his last 5, he's played almost 20-minute games. So he's been in there with our guys. So I think that's why you would give him the nod, of course, over Orlando Robinson. I like Orlando Robinson, but now is not the time to insert him into a lineup just because he hasn't been playing. And we can kind of see Duncan Robinson getting hurt with that as well. And again, I don't think Duncan Robinson is a bench player. I think he is a starting lineup player. So I do see that some adjustments I'm sure will be made knowing Coach Spoelstra in game 2. And we're going to move on to that then. Miles, what is the key to winning game 2 and taking one in Boston?
I think the key is going to be coming together and really putting together a good game plan for Boston. I think their continuity and what they do as a team, we've seen it all season, especially at home. When they get rolling, they're a problem to be had. So I think we're going to have to come in with a good game plan, whether that's maybe some more zone defense to help out with the size and the length they have in the shooting. Definitely can't let them be breaking records from the three-point line for sure. Again, we got to run them off. Offensively, I think we have to take a new approach with Tyler and, like I mentioned, get him some off-ball screens and get him going. But it hurts because no Terry Rozier, no Jimmy Butler. Outside of Tyler and Bam, we don't have a lot of on-ball players. So to kind of switch it up, I think we're just going to have to go in and be willing to just go all out. It's going to take a lot more loose balls and hustle. We've seen a lot of, in the first quarter especially, the offensive rebounds and leading to second chances. Those are definitely going to have to cut down. We didn't look too bad offensively with turnovers, but there was some sloppy moments. Got to clean those up. So I think a game plan to come in, especially against their bigs, continue to limit Jason Tatum. I like sending the double team to him, but we can't be leaving the corner. That's always been our weakness, getting killed from the corner in the zone defense. So just got to stay disciplined and buckle down and really bring it all. One thing I want to mention is physicality. That's always our thing, right? Heat culture, down to bleed. But we got bullied today. So I think Bam, he was aggressive. I am happy to see that, but I think he needs to be even more aggressive to the rim. We're going to need 30-piece games from Bam in this series to win. So get to the rim, put a shoulder in Kristaps. I know he's long, so he's good against the mid-range and contesting and can even, block those layups as we've seen him and try to get one in the second quarter. But shoulder, post work, I think some good things can come from being more physical on offense.
Yeah, no, I agree with Miles that Bam needs to be our best player, honestly, in order for us to actually win the series. We're just gonna be hoping that Tyler Hero drops at least 20 a game for the next few games, just for us to win some, But who knows? He's Mr. Inconsistent, and it's like we don't know what we're gonna get from him. I don't know. I don't like the zone defense as much. It really kills us. The Celtics bench literally killed us from the 3-point line. You're telling me Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard are just
4 threes, man. Oh
I
god.
don't know, but we gotta limit their bench from just being open, I guess. But yeah, that's
I
about
think
it.
you have to play more of a not even a matchup zone, but I think you got to go man and send the
I
double.
think, man, honestly, it has to be.
They killed us too much from 3 to stay in the zone, and you play a zone. Kind of, if you're hoping a team's not going to shoot the 3-pointer well, and they did shoot the 3-point ball well.
They shot like 40-something threes. That's insane.
Yeah. So I think they got to switch that up defensively, send more double teams, and I think just be overall aggressive. You got to play through Bam and not through Tyler. They started the game plan through Bam more, but then Tyler was Mr. Inconsistent again, which really hurts us when he takes so many shots. If he can settle in, take the right shots, and be a facilitator, I think that's where he'll be best. And take a look at the game versus the Bulls. That's exactly what he did. I know he shot the ball a lot better, but a near triple double because he was playing as the facilitator and not as just the ball handler and then just jacking up 40 shots a game. So that's what we need out of Tyler if we're going to succeed. D'Lo, what are your thoughts on winning game 2 in Boston on Wednesday?
Just dwelling on a little what Chris said. It's not that I don't like the zone. The zone can work, but I just feel like our players are taking it too literal. Like if Jason, all right, let's say it's Haywood in the corner zone, right corner zone, and Jason Tatum is coming down the middle. Bam picks him up, and he comes down to that right corner. Haywood would have someone in his corner and just think, oh, let me go because he's in my zone area. I'm eligible to go double him. No. I don't know. I know Spo's not teaching this. He can't be. There's no way that you just see somebody come in, you immediately think to double. No. Sometimes you just have to let that one-on-one matchup ride, man. You just got to let it dwell out and see what happens. I mean, all of our players are good defenders. They can throw up a good contest. We don't need to double everything, like especially with insignificant players. I just think it's ridiculous on the defensive end how we decide to double and stick everything. You can leave some space. Like I can understand playing passing lane and being in between two people, but consistently leaving your man to go guard somebody else's, it's got to stop, because there's no way that we let Sam Hauser get 3 threes back to back in 3 back possessions. Like after 2, you should be like, all right, well, my hand is on your chest now. Like I'm glad you got your 2. Thanks, Sam. Now I know to guard you here. But I think it's just ridiculous on the defensive end how that happens consistently. Like year in and year out, we shouldn't have random players doing this all the time. We shouldn't have as many heat killers as there are.
No, not at all.
All right, and definitely Sam Hauser shouldn't be on that list, for God's sake. So one thing is defense. Second thing is efficiency with the ball. Yes, we're talking to you, Tyler. I'm sorry. I like Tyler. I'm a big Tyler fan, but there's no reason he should only have 11 points on 11 shots. Like, what at this point? What are you doing? Let me pull up the actual numbers, because there's no way it could have really been that bad. No, it's even worse. 11 points off 13 shots. My bad. As our number one option scoring wise, he's got to be better. Like there's no way that you should do that bad, Tyler. We've been raving on you for the past 2 years that you've been hurt. Like, ooh, wait till we get Tyler back. You got to show up and play, man. And that's for everybody. I mean, regardless, offensive wise, everybody has to show up. I mean, we can't just have guys laying goose eggs in the playoffs against the number one team in the league. Like, we know what we can do. We know what our team is capable of. We were the not multiple times, but before we've had the number one 3-point percentage. Like, we have shown, and our roster doesn't change much, so it shouldn't be that impactful. I mean, I don't know about Point Jovic, but
not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet. I do like Jovic's downhill action. I can appreciate it. I mean, he's a little wild, but I can appreciate it. But yeah, no, we just need to have.
I'd rather have Point Jaime.
Yeah, Point Jaime.
Dude, Point Jaime's nice. But I just think we need more consistency as a whole. Like I feel like whenever we call a timeout, Spo gives them an important, great message. It lasts for 2 minutes, and then they just revert back to what they're doing. Like every time, it's a problem. So I just think we need more defensive, offensive consistency. Guys need to hit their shots. People need to stay on their own man. I like the zone. The zone works fine. Just stay with a man in your zone, please.
Yeah, I mean, zone defense, a lot of guys can get lazy that way. And when you're playing man, you got to step up and play basketball. You got to step up and be a man and play some hard-nosed defense, which is that heat culture. And that's what we're asking for. So I think you got to throw out the zone, of course, but not stay in it way too long, which I think they did today. Obviously, when Sam Hauser went off, that's what they were doing, playing that zone. And I know you're like, let's just pick a random guy to let go off, but that doesn't help at all when their stars are still going up. So they got to stop that. They got to go through Bam as the number one. Bam's got to be the number one option. And in my opinion, I think there needs to be a 2A and a 2B, and that's got to be Hero. But I also think it's got to be Jaime Jaquez. He's proven himself the last 3 games in big playoff games that he can be trusted with the ball, that he's making the right decisions. He's getting to the basket. I really like what the rookie's doing. He has never been there before. Although Tyler is just about the same age, Tyler's had that experience for 4 years now. Jaime Jaquez hasn't. I know he's been in big games with UCLA, but I love the way that he's playing. I think they really need to play through him a little bit more. And I think that goes into the substitution play as well. I think you let for a few minutes, even to end a quarter or start the second quarter, instead of Jaime and Bam coming off and let Tyler running the show, let Jaime run it a little bit. You have DeLon Wright at the point, and not saying that, he's going to be the primary ball handler. I think that's when you bring DeLon Wright in to play with Jaime Jaquez. But let him be kind of the main guy out there from our starting lineup at one point. I think that could be something to try on Tuesday as well, or I'm sorry, on Wednesday as well. But another big thing is the Heat did play 3 games in 5 nights, which isn't easy. 2 of those games being on the road. Boston well rested, so Miami gets to stay in Boston, rest up for 2 days before we go Wednesday night, which I think will be a big benefit to us as well. So let's talk realistically. We're already down 1 game. Can the Heat win? And realistically, what's your prediction on this series? Who wins? How many games? Start with Chris.
I say we lose in probably 5 or 6.
I agree.
Yeah.
Here's to say.
Boston has to have 1 game where they like shoot like garbage from the 3-point line. So it's like, that's fine. But it's so sad, not having Jimmy Butler, and we can't do much. It's just a learning experience for our rookies, Yeah, that's it.
Elo, you gave us like a D or D minus on our grade for the season. So how are you feeling about these playoffs?
There's slight confidence there. I mean, I think it's more of delusion than confidence. But just because I know we've been here before, I know we can do these guys. We've had them at the barrel end of the broom. They've had us. I guess you could say a reverse. But I guess it is some delusion because like I can see us playing well. I had confidence of us coming into this game today. We just didn't execute for some reason. Now being realistic here, I say Celtics in a rough 6. Sadly, I just can't sleep at night knowing that we don't get one. Like I know we gotta get one. Like there's gotta be one on Biscuit Boulevard. There's gotta be. There's no way we don't get one. I feel like a second one, they stink up the show, they let their guard down. Look at that. No Jimmy, you thought we were gonna lose. So I feel like we can at least get 2. If we rough it up to 3, we're taking the whole thing. I'm just letting you know. If it comes down to a game 7, sticking it to the man. But realistically, I give us the negative Heat in 6 because I don't want to say Celtics in 6. So I'll say negative Heat in 6. Delusionally, I give it to us in 6 and 7, man. If we figure it out, it's gonna get real scary, man. And that's all we gotta do. We just gotta figure it out. I mean, our players are gonna snap into it eventually. I mean, we'll be all right.
Yeah, for me, I think if Spo can put together a good enough game plan and really have the guys rally around a modern system, I think Udonis Haslem's back at practices for us. We talked about having maybe him back, and he's back, so I think they've been watching the pod. But no, I think it's going to be super tough to win this series. Just being real, I think getting Terry Rozier back for Game 3 and beyond would be absolutely huge. Just the ball handling he brings, the offensive firepower, shot creating, we can really use that. So if we can get Terry back, I have no doubt in my mind we can do Heat in 7, go up there in Boston and win it again. But without Terry, it's really going to be rough. Jaime Jaquez, Ben, I think you made a great point. I think instead of trying to run the offense through Tyler so much, allow Jaime to go to work on the block and even get him some pick and rolls going with Bam Adebayo. So if we put in a good enough game plan, we hustle all out. It's going to take a lot, but maybe we get Terry back. I think we can win. If not, I'll probably say Celtics are going to beat us in probably 6. Just being real, I'll be happy to win 2 games with this squad. Obviously, no Jimmy Butler hurts so much. If we had Jimmy, it'd be a whole different ball game. But hopefully, we can get Terry back and make a fight, make a push, and see where we go. It's gotta be super gritty. We talk about Heat culture being physical. That's something we really have to impose our will and leave it all out there on the floor over these next couple games, and anything could happen. So I'm gonna say it. If we get Terry Rozier back, Heat in 7. Can never count out the culture.
You can't do it, boy. You can't do it.
let's hope for Terry Rozier to get back here for our game 3 next week. That's plenty of time for that. But that's what we got for the podcast tonight. Let's hope that the Heat coaching staff, Spoelstra, Quinn, listen into the Heat Culture podcast for competitors only, because I think that we're all saying very important and great things that can help us win and move on in the playoffs. But thanks for listening into tonight's podcast. Next week, we will be back to discuss game 2 and 3. Hopefully, we're not on the brink of elimination at that point, and we still have some life in that podcast. So, we will see you then. As always, let's go Heat. Game 2 coming up this Wednesday in Boston, 7 o'clock. Let's get it.
Tyler, get your shit together, man.